Oh, sorry, still feeling a little groggy after that induced coma was forced upon us in the form of the Carabao Cup final. But hey, how are things? How was your weekend? Mine was great. Thanks for asking, and welcome to Rabona TV's weekend recap, the top 4 leagues all covered, and a bonus league. And of course, the weekend recap is brought to you by our lovely sponsor, me. I'm an independent woman this week. Just me. Alright, let's get to it, starting in Germany. Oh yeah, and to the dude in the comment section that is obsessed with my looks and keeps on telling me to get a haircut, I'm getting a haircut today, okay? So, on Friday, Werder Bremen kept their unbeaten run going with a 1-1 draw with Stuttgart. They currently sit in 9th and are unbeaten in their last 6 Bundesliga matches. Werder Bremen, that is. On Saturday, Bayern Munich hosted Hertha Berlin, and while it wasn't their best performance ever, they did escape with a 1-0 win. However, it came with a steep price, as Kingsley Coman was subbed on in the 58th minute and was subbed off due to injury. Yes, another one, just 9 minutes later, and it's looking like he'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Thankfully for them, Ribéry is back, though not 100% either, as he only lasted 58 minutes in this one. So will Alphonso Davies be forced into some extra minutes? We'll see. He was just sent to the Bayern Munich 2 team, as he's apparently not quite there technically, so who knows? So while me and some other suckers were watching the Carabao Cup final, trying to find ways to keep ourselves entertained. This is a mess. Sorry, just got sent to the stands. Oh yeah, no he didn't. Never mind, he's back. It looks like he was just gonna leave. The real winners were watching Borussia Dortmund take on Bayer Leverkusen. A massive match, as Borussia Dortmund's defense has been failing them lately, conceding 3 goals in 3 matches in a row, failing to defeat bottom of the table Nuremberg. They drew 0-0, and they needed a positive result against the Leverkusen team, who are on a 4-match winning streak and who are currently managed by Dortmund's jilted ex-lover. Ooh, Peter Bosch. Drama, and it didn't disappoint. In the 30th minute, Jadon Sancho's corner found Zagadou to make it 1-0, but 7 minutes later, Kevin Volland squares it up, 1-1. 1 minute after that, Jadon Sancho makes an even bigger mark on this game with a perfectly executed volley into the bottom corner. He loves a Leverkusen match, as he scored 2 goals and assisted 5 times in his last 3 appearances against Leverkusen. Götze smashed one from range in the second half to make it 3-1. Leverkusen responded with a second of their own, but Dortmund got the win they so desperately needed, meaning they stay top in Germany with 54 points. Bayern are 3 behind them, with Mönchengladbach and RB Leipzig rounding out the top 4. Mönchengladbach lost this week, and RB Leipzig, they play on Monday, today. Bonus competition! The bonus league slot is being taken up by the Carabao Cup final. Riot in the comments. I don't mind. This is my show. Although you guys have a huge say in it, so please don't be mad at me. There's not much to talk about as far as the actual flow of the match. City had the bulk of the opportunities until about, I'd say, around the 80th minute, when Chelsea started to come into the match a lot more. They were dragged into it by Hazard at times, at least as far as the attack goes, because both Rudiger and David Luiz were unbeatable in the box for Chelsea, while Emerson also looked strong, starting ahead of Alonso. Not hard to top him these days, though. I also like Kante in a more dynamic role, as he was dropping deeper to win the ball. Nice to see him doing that again, been a while. And both Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, hyphenated name gang, had strong performances. But anyway, the 120 minutes we saw then led to the shootout, some decent saves from each keeper, but Kepa will really be thinking about his blunder on Aguero's penalty. What makes it all the more worse, the fracas that preceded the shootout, in which Sarri was going to sub Kepa, then Kepa refused to come off, Sarri insisted he come off, and Kepa still refused. You gotta show a little more class here, Kepa. When the manager says you're coming off, you go off. You get off the pitch as fast as you can, and then you can chew them out after, once you're off the pitch, but just get off. All of the players on the pitch, if they were behind this manager, then they would have told Kepa to do one and get off the pitch. As Pilaqueta, maybe not the best captain in Chelsea's history, but by not instructing Kepa to go off when he refuses, he himself is undermining the manager. Imagine a manager trying to make a substitution and his own players don't listen. Right or wrong, it's another terrible look for Chelsea. Sarri tried to downplay it in his post-match press conference, writing it off as a simple misunderstanding and say that he initially thought Kepa couldn't continue, and hence the communication breakdown on the radios and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, To me, the fact that he was walking out the door at one point, looking like he was going to go smoke a whole pack of Marlboros, smashing his chair and screaming in frustration, it seems more than just a misunderstanding. I can't see him getting that mad about a breakdown in communication. If that was the case, it would have been like, oh, he's fine? Okay, then he can stay on the pitch. If he truly wanted Kepa to be on the pitch, he would have just let it be. To me, and again, I'm speculating, but it looked like the frustration of a manager that wants to put a proven penalty stopper. Remember, Caballero helped City in this very competition not long ago, and then he had the player he was trying to sub off defy him. That's what that reaction looked like to me, not just a communication breakdown. And Sarri being held back by Rudiger after the shootout says a lot more than just a simple misunderstanding to me. Not a good look. As John Terry himself said after the match, quote, "Once your number goes up, you have to come off and show a bit of respect. Deal with that after. That's the last thing the players want," end quote. Can you imagine this happening with a captain like Terry on the pitch? No. He would have headbutt Kepa, knocked him out, rolled him off the pitch, and got Caballero on. David Luiz after the match confirmed that he was telling Kepa to obey the coach's orders, but the youngster rebelled. And who knows how the shootout would have gone with Caballero in goal. And now what happens? There's no way that Kepa can play again, right? It has to be Caballero going forward. Like, he has to be punished in some way. The story would have been great if he defied Sarri. Well, it wouldn't have been great for Sarri, that's for sure. But if he defied Sarri and he stayed on and he was the hero of the shootout, then, I mean, that's what Kepa was seeing in his head happening. But it didn't go that way. It went quite the opposite, actually. So, to sum it up, the result of this match, or the outcome, I guess, wasn't so much of a surprise, more the boring path we were led down to get there was the most surprising thing about it, because this match was dead. But even that surprise was rivaled by the latest Chelsea hijinks. And my God, what a season for their fans, man. Chelsea fans, how do you feel about that whole situation? Since we're in England already, why not quickly go over what happened in the Premier League? MLS fans Miguel Almiron looked solid in Newcastle's 2-0 victory over Huddersfield, and perhaps a little unlucky with one of his strikes smashing off at the woodwork. In fact, Newcastle should have had way more in this one. 29 strikes launched goalward. That's insane. Not all were on target, obviously. On Friday, Watford defeated Cardiff 5-1 with Gerard Deulofeu scoring a hat-trick and contributing with an assist for Troy Deeney, who scored a brace. That was the first time that Watford had scored 5 goals in the top flight since 1986. Crystal Palace got a huge 4-1 win away to Leicester, which cost manager Claude Puel his job. Leicester have had a rough run of results. They're winless in 6 now, or 7 across all competitions, but they also had a tough run of matches with losses to United, Wolves, a draw to Liverpool, a loss to Spurs, etc. So it wasn't the easiest run for him. Conversely, Roy Hodgson became the oldest manager in Premier League history at 71 years and 198 days. Batsman, he scored for the first time in the Premier League since October of 2017, while his hair rival, Wilfried Zaha, scored a brace, his 3rd match that he scored in consecutively. Now, on Saturday, Spurs grabbed an L off the shelf at the Turf Moor, losing 2-1 to Burnley in some somewhat controversial fashion. Of course, I'm talking about the Vertonghen situation in which he conceded a corner that shouldn't have been a corner because it came off of the Burnley man last, and the hosts scored through Chris Wood from that corner. Harry Kane hit back shortly after during his big return to the starting 11. That was fast. And Ashley Barnes finished Spurs off in the 83rd minute for the 2-1 win. It's not as if Tottenham didn't have chances. They did, and Heaton stood strong when called upon, but they failed to take them, and so the rest is irrelevant. Didn't do enough to win, but perhaps didn't deserve to lose either. And of course, there was the big matchup between Manchester United and Liverpool, and what a weird one this was. And by weird, I mean it was another coma inducer. For United, they'll be frustrated that they had to use all 3 substitutions in the first half. For me, that was a huge mistake by Solskjaer and the rest of the staff, as clearly they fielded players that were not fit enough. One of those players, who was a doubt, Lingard, came on the pitch as a sub and left 20 minutes later as a sub. What does that say to Sanchez, by the way, when you aren't even ahead of an injured Jesse Lingard in the pecking order? That's got to be rough for him. But when he came on the pitch, he wasn't even very good again. Liverpool, they looked extremely blunt in the attack. Only 1 shot on target. Salah was anonymous, Mane ineffectual. A lot of possession, but as I said, once they got to the final third, there was a lack of ideas. In fact, Klopp summed it up best at the end of this match, and I'll help you with the lip reading. Hell, what a shit game. But I mean, we got to give credit to Manchester United, who in the second half, they really managed the game well, as Liverpool couldn't take advantage of their tired legs, and United could have won it had Smalling not hesitated with the goal at his mercy. Oh yeah, and a big shout out to Marcus Rashford, who picked up a knock early, but soldiered on despite this and really contained himself well throughout the match. Not overexerting himself, conserving his energy, and hurting Liverpool with his pace in the right moments. Well, hurting them as they didn't score any goals. Also, that was Solskjaer's 10th match in charge of United in the Premier League and his 26th point, making him the first manager in the Premier League to pull 26 points from their first 10 matches. Wow. So, now the table looks like this. Liverpool's lead has been cut down to just a single point following a run of 3 draws from their last 4 matches. And I think they're really losing the psychological war between themselves and City. Despite City being a point behind, and I know it sounds weird saying this, but it almost feels like it's advantage City right now, at least as far as momentum goes. Tottenham have now fallen 6 points off of first. Arsenal's routine 2-0 win over Southampton takes them into fourth, just a point ahead of United now. Southampton. I sound like the dude from Skyrim that works in Honningbrew Meadery.
I'm supposed to be holding a tasting of the new Honningbrew Reserve for the captain of
Southampton. Hey Spain, how are you? Well, in Sevilla, they were feeling a little bit sad as their team performed well for the most part, but sometimes Lionel Messi decides to transport us to his own timeline to drag Barcelona through a favorable result. That was exactly the case in this one, as Messi scored a sublime hat-trick to give Barcelona the 4-2 win over Sevilla. Oh! Another interesting aspect in this match was the fact that Luis Suarez snapped his 9-match scoreless La Liga run, but back to Messi. So far in La Liga, after 23 appearances, he scored 25 goals and assisted 11 for a goal involvement of 36 from 23 appearances. That was also his 50th career hat-trick, his 44th, with Barca added to his 6th for Argentina. Those 3 goals also took him up to 650 across his entire career. By the way, I think I forgot to mention that Messi also set up Suarez's goal, so he had a hand in every goal for Barcelona on the day. He is a cheat code, man. He's an infinite goals cheat code for Barcelona. Speaking of infinite goals, I know me saying that only conjured up one player in your head. Alvaro Morata. That's mean. But he's actually been quite decent for Atletico since his arrival. Certainly a bit better than how he's played for Chelsea this season. And he scored in his 3rd consecutive match for Atletico, but this one was the first to count. Morata showed great composure to hit it on the turn and make it 1-0 for Atletico at home to the floundering Canaries via Real. Diego Costa came on in the second half and played a perfect ball over the top that Saúl Ñíguez dinked over the onrushing keeper. Your move now, Real Madrid. And Real went away to Levante and grabbed the 2-1 win thanks to 2 penalties, the second of which was extremely contentious, with Casemiro showing he's got the chops to do the flops. Sure, there was some contact and the kick looked a little wild, but man, VAR is bringing some weak penalties along with it. I guess that's the downside of it. Regardless, Bale stepped up and scored the pen. Well taken by him, but his actions after the goal were concerning. He basically shook his celebrating teammates off of him and went back to his half for the kickoff. I know there was an article out recently talking about how he doesn't really embrace the Spanish lifestyle or hang with his teammates very often, and the fact that he doesn't speak Spanish at all, contributing to that, etc. I guess he's feeling like the odd man out, but to sort of make it so obvious, like Lucas Vazquez came over to celebrate with him and he just shoved him off, but not in like a, you know how players will score a goal and their teammates will try to grab onto them and they'll shove them off and they'll go celebrate in the corner. It wasn't that. He literally just like shoved him off rudely and then just ran back to his position. I don't know, maybe there's nothing there, but it doesn't look great. Especially with, it was against Atletico, I believe he scored, and he did one of these to the crowd. He just seems like a grumpy guy right now. Regardless, contentious penalty or not, Real got the win, and so the table reads as follows. Barca's lead remains at 7 points with 57 to Atletico's 50. Real is in 3rd with 48, and Getafe is climbing higher and higher as their victory over Rayo Vallecano takes them up to 39 points in 4th place. Grabbing the mic a lot today. Hey kid, you like entertaining matches, huh? You interested in a little bit of this? Because, the reason why I ask is because Inter versus Fiorentina was an incredible match. Icardi is still on the outs at Inter as his debacle continues, but as the drama intensifies, Inter's form improves. Okay, so in this one, De Vries scored an own goal in the first minute, but Vicino drew Inter level 5 minutes later. Things chilled out for a bit until the 40th when Politano put Inter up. Speaking of Icardi drama, Politano did Icardi celebration after the goal, and Perisic was none too pleased, as you can see here. All of a sudden, Perisic is starting to play really well now that Icardi's not around. Then it was Perisic himself who put Inter 3-1 up with a penalty in the second half, as his form, as I just said, continues to improve without Icardi. But Fiorentina weren't finished yet, bro, as Luis Muriel brought it back to 3-2, and then in the 10th minute of added time. What? Yes, there was 1 million minutes of added time in this one, but Fiorentina got the equalizer thanks to another contentious handball penalty call. 3-3 the final. Not a great performance from Inter, but a fair result overall, I'd say. It was a great match. AC Milan, on the other hand, man, are they ever turning out great performance after great performance. Another match, another Piontek goal, and another great performance from Lucas Paqueta as well. Milan steamrolled Empoli. And Gattuso and the boys are looking like a legit... I almost said title threat, but that's never going to happen. What I'm trying to say is that they are looking very good, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up in third ahead of Inter. But title, I mean, they're like 25 points back. It's not happening. Speaking of the title, Juventus won again against Bologna, and Dybala got the goal. Not much to say here. 1-0 Juve, as they became the first team in Serie A history to win 22 matches from their first 25. Napoli, on the other hand, also won 4-0 over Parma, which is a huge score. Arkadiusz Milik with another direct free kick slammer, his third slammer in the league this season, equaling Messi for the most direct slammer goals in the top 5 leagues. And so, you guys following me? So, Juve's 13-point lead lives on, Napoli's second, and the two Milan clubs trail in tow. Okay, everyone! That's all from the weekend recap. I gotta get to work on the next Roots of the Rivalry video. If you enjoyed this, then hit that like button. But regardless, thanks for taking the time to watch. I'm Adriano from Rabona, and I'll catch you later. Peace.